While the terms recruitment and selection are often used interchangeably, they are in fact quite distinct activities. We consider recruitment, which includes those practices and activities carried out by the organization with the primary purpose of identifying and attracting potential employees. Selection refers to the methods used to decide which applicant to appoint to a vacancy. Formal structure recruitment methods are part of the best practice set of HR practices that is argued to be strategic and improve organizational performance. They build upon job or competency analysis, which determines the requirement of the vacant role and employ persons, specialization and job descriptions to identify suitable candidates. In recruitment, we can differentiate between the rational approach and the processional approach. The rational approach is very much known to everyone. Usually there is a vacancy and the employer determines the requirements and communicate these to potential candidates in order to generate a pool of applicants to support the selection process. Job analysis, job description, and job specification are centrally to this approach, as the job is fixed and the emphasis is upon finding the candidate who best fit this job. A dominant role for management is presumed and candidates are seen to hold little power. The criticism to this approach is that there is no recognition of the power and politics that run through organizational life and subvert this rational approach. On the other side, it ignores also the role of the candidate, because recruitment is seen as a social process which attracts candidates to apply, and you need to sell the organization to potential employees to identify the person who fits best to the organization. The processional approach to recruitment has created considerable interest in employer branding, which advocates competing for staff by borrowing techniques long used in marketing goods and services to potential customers. In particular, many organizations have sought to position themselves as employer of choice in the labor market with a view to attract stronger applicants from potential employees. This approach has been used to positive effect by a number of public sector employers in the UK, offering jobs that are presented as intrinsically rewarding rather than highly remunerated when recruiting, for example, teachers, social workers, and police officers. It is also used in the voluntary sector to appeal to potential employees. Those values match those of the organization. However, developing a good brand image is an easier task for a larger company with household names than for those which are smaller or highly specialized. But the possibility of developing and sustaining a reputation as a good employer is something from which all organizations stand to benefit. The key, as when branding consumer product, is to build on any aspect of the working experience that is different from the offered by other organizations competing in the same broad applicant pool. It may be relative high pay or a generous benefit package. It may be flexible or friendly or informal atmosphere, a strong career development potential, or job security. This is then developed as a unique selling proposition and forms the base of the employer branding exercise. This unique selling proposition is not only important to attract candidates from outside by using all different medias and use different medias to, it's also important to retain qualified workforce in the organization, and therefore it is important to keep the promises.
There are several positive effects of the employer branding. One of the effects is that it gets easier to attract people from outside, and the money and the time you spend for recruiting activities get less because you started to promote your organization already before by increasing the image of your organization. And on the other side, employer branding is also important to remain staff members in the organization, and it reduces the turnover if you really live what you are going to say and what you are going to promise.
Well, let's start now with the recruitment process. The recruitment process is very much influenced by the external environment. I don't have to explain you what factors are there. It's also, of course, influenced by the internal environment, and this mainly by human resource planning, because we heard already before that the human resource planning is based on the strategy, and then we are going to recruit or choose some alternatives to recruitment. If we decide we will recruit, we can choose internal sources and we can choose external sources. And both sources we will use different methods to recruit individuals. Alternatives to recruitment can either take place at the local level in the country where you are working in, but it can also take place in a global activities. And global activities, for example, is outsourcing. Outsourcing is the process of hiring an external provider to do the work that was previously done inside. Very often you can see this, there's the cleaning service or the safety guards. These are all outsourced activities which are done by someone else, not by staff members of the organization. Offshoring is the migration of all or of a significant part of the development, maintenance, and delivery of services to a company located in another country. From a recruitment standpoint, the shift moves from a labor pool in the home country to labor pools in overseas countries where businesses is being transplanted. With rare exceptions, employees do not move with the job. Traditionally, the reason given for offshoring is to reduce costs. Today, increasing quality services is being given as reasons for offshoring. Another rationale is labor cost saving because wages and salaries in many other countries, particularly in Asia, having generally been lower than in, for example, the United States. Reshoring is the reverse of offshoring. This means that you bring work back to your home country, because very often it was not hidden costs were not calculated, hidden costs like travel, packaging, shipping, or inventory, but also the cost raise because the wages get higher in the countries where you move the activities. Examples are GE or Lenovo or other companies who move back activities which they had abroad, they brought back to the US. Onshoring would not be a global activity, that would be a local activity, but it means that you move certain jobs to another place in the country where you come from. This could be into areas where there are lower labor costs, or where the labor standard is cheaper, or you get some support from the local government. In Germany, we had this when there was the reunification and a lot of companies started to move some of their facilities to the east. Contingent workers could be also a solution not to recruit someone. Contingent workers means that you have a fixed term contract, for example, like a short-term worker or a part-time worker, or that you have independent contractors or on-call workers who are coming in for a certain time but leaving the organization after the contract is over. An example here is when I worked in the car manufacturing company, and the company started with a new model. There were a lot of errors and problems coming up. So contingent workers were hired for this certain period, and afterwards, when everything was running smoothly, they were sent home. Professional employer organization, employee leasing. These are companies who lease their employees to other companies. So the employee has a contract with the employer organization, a permanent contract most of the time, but is not working in the organization. He is working or she is working in another business sector. Perhaps the most commonly used alternative to recruitment, especially in meeting short-term fluctuation in work volume, is overtime. Overtime may help both employer and employee. The employer benefits by avoiding recruitment, selection, and training costs. The employee gains from increased income during the overtime period. Here I don't go very much into detail because it's just a conclusion with the points we had in the other lessons. A very strong influence on the recruitment, of course, has the HR planning and what kind of approach the organization choose. Remember, we talked about the ethno, the poly, the regio, and the geocentric approach. But also what is important is the promotion policy the organization has. To which extent do they fill the internal vacancy with people who are already working there? And there we can clearly see that the promotion from within is 80%. The last aspect which I would like to highlight here is also the organization's knowledge about their employee, and therefore this is a little bit difficult sometimes, because if the organization does not know what their staff are able to do, they cannot promote them or they cannot rotate them main functions. Information function. This means that you inform persons who are not aware about the vacancy, and you activate them that they apply. And at the end, you can select out of this. And most important aspect is in the signaling. This means to inform about issues which are difficult to observe, about the corporate culture, the variety of tasks, the flexibility of work contents, and the career opportunities. So let's start now with the recruitment process. When human resource planning indicates a need for employees, the firm may evaluate alternatives to hire. This is what we said before. But if they decide to hire someone, the recruitment begins when a manager initiates an employee requisition. This is a document that specifies the job title, department, the date the employee is needed for work, and other details. With this information, managers can refer to the appropriate job description to determine the qualifications the recruited person needs. In brackets, job specification. The next step in the recruitment process is to determine whether qualified employees are available within the firm. This is an internal source. Or it is necessary to look to external sources, such as colleges, university, or other organizations. Because of the high costs of recruitment, organizations need to use the most productive recruitment source and method available. Recruitment sources are the places where qualified candidates are located, such as colleges or competitors. Recruitment methods are the specific means used to attract potential employees to the firm, such as online recruitment. And these sources has to be tailored especially to the firm's needs, but also according to the position you want to fill. I would like to start now with the internal recruitment. Internal recruitment, the source is quite simple, because internal recruitment, most of the time, 80% of all positions above entry level are filled with internal candidates, and they are very often promoted from within, and this is called PFW. These people could be parent country nationals, third country nationals, or host country nationals. Management should be able to identify current employees who are capable of filling positions as they become available. Helpful tools used for internal recruitment includes human resource databases, job posts, and job bidding, and employee referrals. Human resource databases permit organization to determine whether current employees possess the qualification for filling an open position. As a recruitment device, these databases have proven to be extremely valuable to the organization. Databases can be valuable in locating talents internally and supporting the concept of promotion from within. Job posting is the procedure for informing employees that job opening exists. Job bidding is the procedure that permits employees who believe that they possess the required qualification and competencies to apply for a posted job. And nowadays, most of this is done via intranet or internet. The last point, the employee referrals, I will go into detail on the next slide. Employee referrals involve an employee of the company recommending a friend or associate as a possible member of the company. This continues to be the way that top performers are identified. In many organizations, the use of employee referrals produces the most and best qualified applicants. There are many organizations like Southwestern Airlines, Microsoft, Disney, typically employ many of their new hires exclusively through employee referrals. It is just human nature that employees do not want to recommend a person unless they believe they are going to fit in and be productive. Another reason why they are also very successful is because most of the time the person who is recommended, they talked already with the employee who is currently working in the organization and knows exactly how is the situation in the organization. Does he want to go to this organization or not? So they are prepared for the new organizational culture. Very often companies pay boni or pay incentive programs for employee referrals, and at the long run the employees become company recruiters for the organization. Employee enlistment is a unique form of employee referral in which every employee becomes a company recruiter. This is not the same as merely asking employees to refer friends to a company. The firm supplies employees with simple business cards that do not contain names or position. Instead, these cards have a message similar to we are always looking for great. For additional information, log on to our website. Employees then distribute the cards wherever they go, at parties, sports events, family gathering, picnics, or the park. The purpose is to let people know that the company really does want people to apply. At times, a firm must look beyond its own borders to find employees, particularly when expanding its workforce. Internal recruitment is needed, first of all, to fill entry-level positions. Second, to acquire skills or competency not possessed by current employees. And third, obtain employees with different background to provide a diversity of ideas. So in this respect, it's again the position and the kind of competencies you need where you look for new persons. So you can choose persons from the entry level directly from training institutions, or you can ask for experienced person in using networks, business networks or governmental communities. But you can also, and this comes up more and more, ask competitors or other firms in the same industry or geographical area. This is called poaching. Once an employer has decided that external recruitment is necessary, a cost-effective and appropriate method of recruitment must be selected. There are a number of distinct approaches to choose from, each of which is more or less appropriate in different circumstances. As a result, most employers use a wide variety of different recruitment methods at different times. In many situations, there is a good case for using different methods in combination with looking to fill the same vacancy. In the table, you can see methods reported the most effective of employers in the recent years, 2017, and compare these methods with those reported to be most effective by employees only 2 years previously. Overall, the rapid pace of changing shift to technology-based recruitment is very obvious. Depending on the position we are looking for, depending on the qualifications you are looking for, you can choose persons directly coming from the high school or vocational school. This means with if you look for clerical or other entry-level employees. You can look also in colleges or universities. This is a major resource, recruitment resource for potential professional, technical, and management employees. And we talked already about competitors. Small firms in particular look for employees trained by larger organizations that have greater development resources. For instance, one optical firm believes that its own operation is not large enough to provide extensive training and development programs. Therefore, a person recruited by this firm for a significant management role is likely to have held at least 2 previous positions with a competitor. At one time, when employees quit, their managers and peers tend to view them as being disloyal or ungrateful, and they were punished with no return policy. A common attitude was that if you left your firm, you did not appreciate what the company had done for you. Those days are gone, and often goodbye may not be forever. The unemployed often provide a valuable source of recruits. Qualified applicants join the unemployment rolls every day for various reasons. Companies may downsize their operations, go out of business, or merge with another company, leaving qualified workers without job. Often employees get fired because they had difficulties with their bosses, or very often employees feel bored and they quit the job. The next true group, this military personnel or self-employed workers, are also sources for employment. Military personnel working for services have a lot of experience. They were hardworking and smart and intense. They have good leadership experience and are flexible. And in my time with the car company, I had several bosses who were ex-soldiers. Self-employed workers are another group. These are individuals who have experience, entrepreneurial experience, and should be creative. Some organizations have found it beneficial to hire ex-offenders. A recent analysis by the National Employment Law Project showed that more than 1 in 4 US adults has an arrest or conviction that would appear in a routine criminal background check. Studies estimate that as many as 60 to 75% of the ex-offenders are unemployed. Many are non-violent substance abusers who were locked up because of federal and state drug laws. This statistic is not surprising because as an increase in the use of criminal background checks in the employment process, and most employers indicate that they would probably or definitely not be willing to hire an applicant with a criminal record. There are quite a number of employers who hire the group because they said that their experience for example, in the restaurant business exposed that the ex-offenders were very hardworking, and they were also grateful for the job they were given. We heard about this technology shift in recruitment, and therefore I would like to spend some minutes on traditional external recruitment method. One method is media advertising. Media advertising could be done via the radio, newspaper, televisions. Sometimes I see it even now in the cinema. Then there are public employment agencies, which could be private and public. One of the big in Germany is this Bundesagentur für Arbeit, and there are private also agencies too. Then private employee agencies are headhunters, for example. And then we have recruiters. Recruiter formerly went to schools and looked for possible future employees. Nowadays, we talk about internet recruiters. These are persons who are primarily responsible to use the internet in the recruitment process. They are also called cyber recruiters. Then job fair is a method where you invite a large number of applicants to one location. This is an opportunity to meet a large number of candidates in a short time. Nowadays, this is reduced. It still exists, but it's very often replaced by a virtual job fair. A virtual job fair, there the recruiters pre-screen the resume, they contact candidates who are a potential fit and store email addresses. If applicants pass the initial screening, they typically must complete a questionnaire, take a behavioral test, and do a telephone interview before meet a recruiter in person. Virtual fairs usually last about 5 hours. Through recruiters can receive resume online for as long as a week after the event. In this virtual booth, recruiters often provide links to their online career site, obtain resumes from candidates, and interact with applicants in a live chat room. Internships are also a recruitment method where students are placed in a temporary job. There are no obligations linked to it, but it's an opportunity to get to know a company, and the company gets to know the intern. This is also, and it's also an opportunity to bridge gap from theory to the practice. Professional associations are organizations, for example, the Society of Human Resource Management or the Engineers Association, and they are places who operates also on referral services. Then there are unsolidated applicants. These are applicants who apply in an organization because they heard that the organization is very interesting for them. Open houses pair potential hires and recruiters in a warm, casual environment that encourages on-the-spot job offers. Open houses are cheaper and faster than hiring through recruitment agency, and they are also more popular than job fairs. One example is also the Girls' Day. The Girls' Day is a day where the company's manufacturer opens, for example, their doors, and girls get more familiar with technical job. Event recruiting involves having recruiters go to events being attended by individuals that the company is seeking. Cisco Systems pioneered event recruiting as a recruitment approach. In the case of programmers in the Silicon Valley, the choice spots have been merit An example is the Girls' Day. A Girls' Day is organized for girls entering technical companies to make technical professions more attractive. Sign-in bonus is done in areas where it is very, very difficult to find persons. So very often you look for very highly skilled workers that are difficult to find on the market. Competitive games is a unique way to get individuals interested in applying for technical positions. Google make use of the recruiting games and gets to know the quality of the applicants already before they officially apply. The world of recruitment via mobile technology is moving at lightning speed. More and more people are adopting mobile technology, and many organizations are trying to figure out how to use mobile devices in the recruitment process. Recruiters use mobile apps to post jobs, run text message-based recruitment campaigns, create online communities for potential new hires to learn about their company, monitor social networks for news about industries they hire for, and keep in touch with staff and outside agencies. Corporate websites. Job sites accessible from a company homepage that lists available company positions and provide a way for applicants to apply for specific jobs. The following examples are mainly US-based boards or sites. Some of them are associations, and some of them are specialized on certain jobs. Blogs or weblogs have changed the way in which individuals access information. Google or a blog search engine can be used. All a person has to do is type in a key phrase like marketing jobs. The blogs themselves make it pretty easy to find the names where you can find a job. General purpose job boards. Firm uses general job boards by typing in key job criteria, skills and experiences, and indicating their geographical location. Job seekers can search for jobs by category, experience, education, location, or any combination of categories. General job purpose job boards continue to attract large number of applicants, but their use has declined somewhat in recent years. Many believe that the general purpose big job boards are best for job seekers in professions that experience high turnover, like sales, but often are less effective for highly qualified applicants or those looking for jobs in smaller industries. They are also not as effective in finding jobs for senior level positions because most firms prefer referrals or websites like LinkedIn. The two most widely recognized general employment websites are Monster or Career Builder. Here I list the results of a research done in 2015. What kind of information are asked in online recruitment forms?
This is from the same research, indicating to which extent with method was used for e-recruitment. So very many more use computer-based selection than online testing.
The term guerrilla recruitment is derived from a word created by the marketing expert Mr. Levinson in 1980s, who used it to describe unusual and surprising marketing campaigns in which large advertisement effect can be achieved with a small budget. Originally developed for guerrilla marketing measures, the approach is now used in recruitment. What does guerrilla recruitment mean in concrete terms? It is not without reason that the term is borrowed from the war tactic, which is designed to attack a seemingly superior enemy in a very targeted and surprises way, so that the enemy has little or no time and opportunity to fend itself. Guerrilla recruitment actions are often used to attack specific companies. Those employees are to be recruited for their own company. In contrast to classical recruitment methods, guerrilla recruitment therefore relies on addressing the target groups extremely unexpectedly in an unusual context. An example for it is the pizza digitale, which is, or pizza digital. It's marketing experts work long hours, so usually they work long hours at night, and so they order a pizza, and one company use the pizza service to address their vacancy. And the marketing experts were surprised about this new opportunity and applied. Another example you can find in the film on guerrilla recruitment. Ambient recruitment is how you usually market your products, and you use media formats which you use to market other things. Like you go into the direct living environment or leisure environment of your target group, and you place the advertisement there, like on postcards, on beer mats, on poster walls, but also on stickers in the train, etc. Viral recruitment means that you use the internet to distribute your offerings. One example is this cruise shooting by Johnny Walker. Another example could go up to the company where the boss advertises for his department, for his company, and for the future working place together with the future colleagues. They are active, inviting the new candidates to recruit. Another very simple recruitment form of the recruitment, viral recruitment, are the slogans at the end of an email. Conspiracy, means that a plan is implemented which damage others. So therefore it's to transfer it to recruitment is that a potential applicant and the employer are meeting together, but the recruiting is not the predominant activities. The goal is to exchange information and to get to know each other. And out of this, the next employment contract can come up. And a very normal form nowadays is the bar camp. This bar camp is an open meeting with workshops. At the beginning, the content and the process of a bar camp is not fixed. The participants, the persons who participate in a bar camp, can develop it themselves and can design the agenda on their own. Each participant is asked to organize a session, and he can decide, or she can decide, which topic he used, which will be in the interest of the other participants. Bar camps are mainly done to exchange content and to have a discussion, which could be also a relationship, to create a relationship to the potential employer. Hackathon is a design sprint-like event, often in which computer programmers or other involved in software development include graphic designers, interface designer, project manager, domain expert, and other collaborate intensively on software projects. The goal of a hackathon is to create functioning softwares or hardware by the end of the event. Hackathons tend to have a specific focus, which can include the programming language used, the operational system, an applicant API, or the subject and the demographic group of programmers. In other cases, there is no restriction on the type of software which is created. Hackathons come in all shapes and sizes, and virtual hackathons can be done of the most effective way of scouting international talents in particular. Built around the concept of competing on programming challenges, virtual hackathons provide recruiters with a peek of what programmers in China, India, Europe, and other countries are capable of as they battle for the top spot on the competition leaderboard. Interactive hackathons is the traditional interview process. Sometimes very qualified candidates are dismissed because of the intimidation factor of one-to-one interviews, and their results are nervousness. Hackathons provide a chance to dig in, get comfortable, and show creativity over the course of a day or more. From the interviewer's perspective, hackathons help to measure a candidate's skills, plus provide that exclusive answer to the culture fit question: how do they perform in a working environment? Industry hackathons are industry-specific hackathons. They slowly emerge as a way of consolidating resources and bringing focus and purpose to the established paradigms of hackathons. And internal recruitments are the last benefit of hackathons is that you use it to recruit your own staff.
Internet overload means that most employers use applicant tracking software to screen applications. Applicant tracking systems are online systems that help employers attract, gather, screen, compile, and manage applicants. Most systems are from application service providers. These basically redirect applicants from the employers to the ASP sites. Thus, applicants who log on to take a test at the employer are actually taking the test at the ASP's site. As one example, a bank uses its ATS to bump applicants who don't meet the job's basic requirements. It then emails them suggesting they review the bank's site for more appropriate positions. Artificial intelligence systems. Employers also use AI-based systems to improve recruitment. Here, the main focus is on automating the resume analysis. For example, TextKernel can quickly scan thousands of resumes and find variable candidates. It uses AI to identify alternative words. Thus, if a recruiter wants a candidate with experience in the autonomous driving technology, TextKernel would scan the resume not just for autonomous driving, but also for similar words like self-driving,